We are back inside the Steinke Physical Education Center on the Mendoza's Pharmacy Javelina Sports Network for the 2020 Virtual Javelina Coaches Caravan. And one more guest. Our next guest is the head coach for Javelina men's basketball, Johnny Estelle. Coach Estelle, thank you for taking some time out for us.
What a great honor to be here, sir.
And if anyone is interested in giving it to Coach Estelle's program or any of the other programs here at Temuque, just visit javelinagiving.org/one-day or text GO-HOGS to 202-858-1233. Now, Coach, for you, coming off what could be best classified as a banner 2019-20 season, a 20-win season for your program, ended up in a trip to the NCAA Tournament. What was it about this 2019-20 team that made that squad so special?
The leadership, the five seniors on that team, the families, the character. I'm a big believer in winning big starts at home, and in the recruiting process, we really did a very thorough job, or we try to do it every year. But that group was a special group that we noticed that their families were unbelievably supportive at the institutions and the schools that they were already at previous before coming here. And I knew that they would bring that here, which creates more of a culture and a tradition type situation. So, when you're trying to establish that and do something special, you have to have great families. You have to have the right players, the best fit for Kingsville, and you have to have everybody on the same page. And everybody was about winning. So when you want to think about that group, what made it special, was it the 21 wins? No, it was the people.
And so much, I think, of what made that group special came from the five people who were the senior leaders on that team: John Mouton, John Garrett, Chauncey Thomas, and Rashawn Thomas, and Daniel Severo as well. Mm-hmm. How important is the legacy that they left and the legacy that they left behind as part of your program and the work they put in during their time here?
That's a great question, because in our program, we speak about legacy before we even start. And we talk about it in a classroom setting, and we're talking about leaving a legacy through basketball in life. And all five of those guys did an unbelievable job leading with action. They led, by, example. And it's good to see those guys that came from, like I said, those good families and programs come here and finish the race, is like we call it. And they left a great mark on our tradition. And not only did they do it from a basketball perspective, but, the graduation. They've all going to graduate. John graduates with his master's degree in December, and Rashawn graduates in December with his engineering degree. Daniel's already graduated. Chauncey Thomas has graduated. John Mouton's graduated. So we talk about the last image that we want on this campus for each student athlete. It's not cutting down the nets. It's walking across that stage for that 10-second walk of fame. And to do that, win on the court, win in the classroom, win in the community, and push our brand forward, what else is left to do but put them right where they belong at the top?
What is that moment like for you as a head coach when you see them walking across the stage with their degree?
Well, if you ever go to graduation, I have a position there at the end of the stage. I kind of hold up graduation, to be honest, because I want them to understand, and I'm usually, have tears in my eyes, because I know this is not the last time I'm going to see them, but I've been a small part to help them get to the next chapter of their life. And I know with this degree in their hand, they can change the rest of their life. And they can continue on with their children and their wives, whoever that's going to be. But it's just a great feeling that it never gets old. Championships are great. And I've been very fortunate to be a part of some. But to see those guys graduate, man, I tell you what, it's big time.
I think we were all looking forward to see what would happen on that second Saturday in March when you guys were scheduled to play Angelo State. Obviously, that became an extremely difficult situation for everybody. But I thought it was a very poignant moment when you had these seniors up addressing the team at once the bad news finally did become official. How proud were you of the way the seniors handled themselves, and what was a difficult moment for everybody?
Well, it was difficult. That you was a part of that, and we really appreciate the kind words that you shared with our team because we let everybody speak on. That was a part of our team. Um, but to see those 5 guys who I mean, it's no disrespect to anybody else, but I knew what they had been through and what they continued to do, and they came back and what they were able to achieve. It was very tough to see, but it also was so rewarding to see the maturity in them and to see them be able to leave, you know, advice and a legacy to the next generation of leader. Which would be Trey, which is a junior this year. Deontay is a junior this year, and Jamel Bradley. So all 3 of those guys are seniors. But for them to be able to address just not those 3, but everybody, and to be able to say how grateful they were and how thankful they were about their decision to join the Javelina Nation, and to be able to say they're going to miss and love, that was the key. They was able to say that they loved everybody in that room and they genuinely meant it. So that mattered to me so much.
Now, I know you and Coach Gonzalez were extremely active in recruiting, at least as active as you could be in the environment that we were all dealing with. How happy are you with the group of student athletes that you have emerged with and have been able to sign up as new members of this program?
Well, back in 2014, May 5th, when I became the head coach here, I signed that first class on $400 of gas receipts. So I went in there to see the business manager, and he said I had negative $250 in recruiting, which I didn't quite understand, but he gave me a gas card, and I was able to build a foundation with that group. And I always will be indebted to that group because they started it. But this year I spent $0, and I love every one of them. And I tell you what, very few times as a coach do you get to hit on just not only your needs but your wants. And you always have like a wish list, and then you have maybe a B guy. We got all our A guys, and they check off on all cylinders. They're good students, they're from great families, and they can play, and they meet our needs.
What kind of young men are you looking for when you're recruiting players to join this team?
Well, I mean, character first. Quite naturally, most coaches are going to say talent, which, quite naturally, we're not going to be attracted to players that don't have some level of talent. But character with talent and commitment is dangerous. So we're looking for committed young men that are competitors, basically, in every phase of their life. And then they're going to ultimately be lifelong learners, meaning that they're teachable. And then we want people that are responsible, that are respectful, and then I want people that are very unselfish in a sense, and they can see from a holistic perspective instead of an individualistic perspective. Because you've seen us play; we play a lot of guys. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity. It's not, you have to earn everything, but a lot of kids don't like that today. A lot of families don't like that. They want their kid, no matter if the team wins or loses, they want them to play all the time. Well, we want the kids that are most committed, that are basically invested in the Javelina Nation on and off the court and in the community and in the classroom. We want them to represent us. And when they represent us like they did last year, that's when you hold your head up high with a lot of pride.
I know you guys are slowly getting the ball rolling on getting everything back together, being able to practice, being able to get your team together. What will be your first goal? What is the first thing you want to accomplish? You want to find out about this team when you can finally get everybody together again?
Well, I'm a coach that reads body language and like to, touch his guys in the sense of, want to, get to know them and things like that. So we've been doing that via Zoom, but, looking through a computer screen is not like being able to actually physically see a guy and work with him. So, I think that's going to be really what we're going to focus on and concentrate on, is continue to, get to know each other. We're going to start with, baby steps and the basics. But, I just really like the fact that now, we're going to be able to get a sense of normalcy, whatever that is for today. And these kids, they came here to go get an education, and they want to play basketball, and the team building and the chemistry is such a huge part of our program's success, and you can't really get that just doing things virtually all the time. So now we're going to start with that chemistry aspect.
You look back at last year's team, and it just seemed like a really special group of young men that gelled, that got together well, that there was a lot of chemistry, and there was a lot of selflessness on that team. Mm-hmm. How do you try and recapture that and put this team in a position to get back to the same place that last year's team got to?
Well, I mean, when I used to play, and I know it seemed like forever ago, that's the way our coaches taught us. The older guys taught the younger guys. And then when they became the leaders, then they taught the next generation. So that's kind of what we do in our program. We don't want to have a program where we're so top heavy and we have so many voids. So these guys that went out, they taught the guys that in the program how to lead. So basically, we start with them, like the three I told you about. But then you have to recruit the right kind of guys that's going to be able to follow their lead in the right way. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So
yes.
Bridging all that is important, and doing that quicker with the amount of guys we have come. We had 2 sitting out, and then we have all those guys back. I think it's going to take us a little time because they've been inactive for so long. But it's like riding a bicycle. And I think that once we get the back going and start doing things the Javelina way, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, you mentioned the Javelina way. That is something that you and your coaching staff preach to your student athletes, it seems like, constantly. We want to do things the right way. We want to do things the Javelina way. What exactly does that mean? When you talk about we want to do this the Javelina way, or your Coach Gonzalez talks about it that way, what message are you trying to get across to your student athletes?
Well, I think that what you're trying to instill a pride in them, that the people before you have really paid the price and laid the foundation. And when it's your turn, you cannot let everybody down. You cannot run from this opportunity. So with that, here's what comes with that opportunity, and responsibility, respect, hard work, all the leadership, those things that we talk about. So when you say the Javelina way, it's basically a deal of standards, high standards, and pride and accountability. And it's just not to, you or your family or the Javelina men's basketball program. It's to the Javelina athletic program. It's more important for the institution, because I think sometimes the biggest mistakes coaches make, not to be critical, is they have a relationship with the families and they have a relationship with the players, but they don't do a good enough job, bridging that gap to the institution. And at the end of the day, the institution is who pays me and who provides opportunity for scholarships and to be able to take care of them. So as a coach, I think if you're doing it right, you have to include everybody. So when I went to school here and I played for Coach Carter, that was just the way it was. Student athletes really played for the brand. They played for the Javelina Nation, the scripted Javelina or Porky or whatever. They played for their school. And when you meet with those people today, some of them are in their 40s, late 50s, 60s. They bleed color. They bleed the gold. They bleed the blue. And we can recapture that. I know kids have changed, people have changed, times have changed. But I think if we re-examine and get back to teaching the values of being a Javelina and the traditions that are, been associated with this great prestigious university, then I think we can get back to those days.
How integral do you think that mindset and that part of the culture that you've built here, how integral is that to your program?
It's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to basically show them by action what commitment looks like. Whether if that's commitment to my wife and my children, or commitment to my occupation, commitment to them and their families, that's why I'm here. I may not be the best coach they've ever had, but I can be the best example or a good model of what a man should be, a Christian, whatever it may be. That's what I strive for. That's why I coach. I want to make a difference, and I want to, especially working here at my alma mater, I want to make a difference and an impact and leave a legacy here in a coaching perspective.
Well, Coach, I know we all can't wait to see you and your team finally get back on the court, whether it's in 2020 or 2021. Anyone interested in giving to Javelina men's basketball, you can visit javelinagiving.org/1day, or you can text Go Hogs to 202-858-1233. Coach Estelle, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.